swept your floors and decided to sweep it under the rug instead of using a dustpan? Dirt's still there, isn't it? Out of sight, out of mind, ignored, forgotten, though, isn't it? Many churches are this way with victims of sexual assault and rape. In fact, victims themselves do this, believing they have no other option but to sweep it under the rug. Why is this? Is it because it's too ugly, too complicating, and too much work? Does it make it okay to turn a blind eye? I myself was sexually assaulted 2 years ago. It was difficult for the church to believe such an evil could occur. But you know what? Statistics show that 1 out of every 6 American women has been a victim of an attempted or completed rape, according to the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, Who Are the Victims, 2009. Sexual assault and rape is an abuse of not only the body, but of the soul. And through God, the church needs to step up in neither judgment nor ignorance to love and comfort, directing the wounded towards the great physician for freedom and true healing. God is the great physician, and we, the church, as his medical staff, can provide victims of sexual abuse the freedom to speak, the freedom to grieve, and the freedom to heal. Why does this filth of sexual assault and rape haunt these women, its claws never letting go of their hearts and their souls? The problem is silence. They need the freedom to speak, to process what has happened to them, not be rejected, disbelieved, or judged. Nicole Bromley, public speaker of sexual abuse and author of the book Breathe, 2009, states, "Silence suggests approval. It protects the sin and allows this evil to continue to tear apart relationships and churches." Rape is the most underreported crime, states the National Sexual Violence Resource Center in their article, Statistics About Sexual Violence, 2012. Why? There's a fear of not being believed. They further state 8 out of 10 cases of rape, the victim knew the perpetrator. This magnifies their fear. I knew who assaulted me. He attended my church, and the fear became a reality. There is only a 7.1% rate of false reports of sexual assault, according to the National Sexual Violence Center, 2012. With so low a percentage of false accusations, why are victims not believed? Remember, God knows. Our job as a church is to love them. I painted this painting right after my assault. And it symbolizes my inner world, a victim's inner world, trapped in silence. I created it with a painting knife, frustrated, agitated, and feeling helpless. At its center, I painted red, and it symbolized passion, blood, and violence. I painted black for fear, loss, danger. The blue symbolized coldness and depression. The outer edges are light and positive and hopeful. And the squiggly lines were the pathways out of the gore and the fear and the coldness at its center. What in most cases occurs is that emotions and memories become trapped within, building, crying to get out, with only 2 options: to be swallowed up by the center, or led through the passageways by God and his staff, the church, towards healing. They need the freedom to grieve, to progress and reach healing. Forgive and forget is not the solution, but rather they need to process what happened to them, going through the emotions of grief and fear. Louise Madill, part-time counselor with Focus on the Family, wrote an article in Focus Helps called Sexual Abuse, The Healing Journey, 2010. She writes, "Forgetting is a human impossibility. The hardware of the memory is always there. In fact, survivors try to forget, often for years, until the memories or the pain explode. Denial, as it's called clinically, is not a spiritual virtue. What it is a lie." Jan Frank, licensed counselor, founder of Free to Care Ministries and author of the book Door of Hope, 1995, states, they, the victims, must survey the losses and damage in their lives before they can intelligently set about to rebuild. Think of how much easier it would be for these women if the church was behind them, upholding, patiently supportive, and encouraging. Psalms 30:5b reads, weeping may go on all night, but joy comes in the morning. Dr. Dan Allender, professor of counseling psychology and author of The Wounded Heart, states in his book, Deep Healing, Supernatural Healing, may take years of struggle, trial and error learning, and growing in strength. No one ought to judge another's timetable. Yes, it can be a long process, but Christ's death on the cross proves it's worth it. On the path to healing, I did this painting. At first I didn't understand what it symbolized. Now I do. The brilliant, violent colors of old were about to fall away, leaving a winter of grief yet healing, and creating a spring of new life and new beginnings. God will reward those who come alongside one of his wounded with humble, loving hearts, presenting grace which enables healing. Each one is precious to God, and so they ought to be for us too. Through the freedom to heal, God's grace and glory can shine through their scars. I wrote a journal entry a couple of months after the assault while struggling for freedom. Want to laugh and sing and dance, but there's so much weight in me, it's all I can do to walk and smile. I want to draw closer to God, but I can't seem to identify and knock down the walls that separate him and I feel time is short and desperate to live before it's too late. I want out of this glass prison and these chains that hold me. I want freedom, so tired of feeling trapped inside. Please set me free, God. What will it take so I can breathe? Give me the courage, in spite of my fear, to live, to trust, to love. Oh God, help, please. Heal the awful pain that's trapped inside this body. Help and guide me to letting it out. Fill me with the beautiful. I want to shine, to sparkle the way you created me to, my own special way. You told me that I am a warrior princess, so help me put on my armor to do battle against the fears, the chains holding me back. I got through it, and God is using my scars. I couldn't have gotten through it without my close friends and family. They supported, encouraged. They were there in my times of fear and there in my times of tears. Many others have been healed from sexual abuse wounds, such as Joyce Myers and Nicole Bromley, and now they use their scars to help others. Luke 4:18b reads, he has sent me to proclaim that captives will be released, the blind will see, the downtrodden will be freed from their oppressors. God can use anyone. What are we, the church, doing to aid him in his mission? Think of the joy of being a part of one's healing, to see open wounds mended. I painted this, and to me it symbolizes peace and strength. It's openness, wonder, beauty. It is a breath of fresh air. It is freedom. Many women have gone through the horror of sexual abuse and rape and are walking into our churches in search of freedom and instead are being judged and ignored. Fight for God's brokenhearted. I challenge you, the church, to open your heart and arms as members of God's loving staff to aid in the restoration of souls to freedom in Christ. Instead of allowing or encouraging the filth of sexual abuse to be swept under the rug, the church can instead help victims lift the covering, reveal the dirt and damage, and through God's grace, walk them to freedom.